Hello, this is Dan Ferrisi, Group Director of Content and Editorial, Industrial and Tech at Emerald. So happy to be joined today by Maile Keone, who is President and CEO of Listen Technologies. Listen Technologies is, of course, one of the most beloved, best-known companies in our industry, has really cool technology, multiple-time Best Award winner, a staple at all the industry shows. And Maile is certainly a recognized and respected industry leader, someone who has overseen really fast growth at Listen Technologies. So let's talk a little bit to Maile, learn some of her strategies, some of her secrets to success, and how she's operationalizing them throughout Listen Technologies. Thank you, Maile, for joining me. Really appreciate it.
Dan, thank you so much for having me.
So let's get right into it. As I have said, you really have become one of the most visible leaders in all of accessible audio. From your perspective, are there certain shifts that are defining the conversation in Pro AV right now? And where would you say, from your unique vantage point, the biggest opportunities are for the industry to do even better than it's doing now?
So, Dan, I would probably talk about a couple of points, and those points would start with the visibility in both the industry and a much larger and broader audience for accessible audio. When I joined Listen Technologies almost 14 years ago, it was and I don't say this with anything but the deepest respect, I would say accessible audio was kind of a niche in pro audio. And we were the people who at the end of a job, in a pro audio job, would be like, oh, I think we need assistive listening. Well, yes, you do, because it's required by the ADA and beyond. So it was sometimes an afterthought. Sometimes, we're the young kid on the block. And so what we've seen, and I would say especially in the last 3 to 4 years, is an explosion of understanding of the importance of accessible audio. And not only that, the extension into markets, into where it's being put, the visibility of it. So that's probably the biggest shift. I'd say the second shift is the understanding from the end user's perspective of what their rights are, that they do, that accessible audio is required in venues, and that they can have a much better experience with it when they go to plays or to houses of worship or in higher education. And so there's just this kind of like blooming almost of an understanding of both the technology and where it can be used.
Blooming, I think, is a great way to describe it. And I guess there is kind of a moment of revelation there where people who need that accessible audio, they realize I am entitled to just as robust an experience as anyone else. And there is technology out there that will enable me to fully participate, fully partake, not get half of the experience, but get all of the experience that my peers are getting.
And the technology is also becoming more personalized. So when you think about what we used to install, hearing loops that you couldn't adjust the volume, it's just becoming the technology with Auracast, with Wi-Fi, even the loop technology is improving. And so I really deeply believe that the technology and the intersection of the understanding of what people can experience, it's just so fun to watch.
It really is. So I want to talk a little bit about Listen Technologies and Ampetronic having come together at a really important moment for the market. Can you tell me a little bit about the growth story that you have been sharing and what has to go right in order to turn that momentum into long-term industry leadership?
So really, I would say longer term industry leadership, because as you pointed out in the introduction, Ampetronic has been around for, I think, 45 years. Hopefully that's correct. Listen for over 25 years. And so they have both always been industry leaders in the technology. And so Ampetronic was one of the first companies to join the Bluetooth SIG, the Auracast SIG, and really look to the future of that technology in our industry. And so when we came together under the Allvida umbrella, under common ownership, we really were looking to develop incredible products together. And the first product on the market was Auri, was our Auracast product. We were first on the market with that assistive listening technology. We ran for 9 months with no competitors, which was a really fun growth time and challenging for our companies as well. But we've come together as one company, Ampetronic and Listen, and it's just been such a joy for me to see the engineering team first come together, and then the rest of the company really taking the challenge of being the industry leaders together in accessible and assistive listening audio.
So I want to talk a little bit about that coming together, but I want to frame it from the point of view of your leadership style, because from what I know of you and the respect that you have garnered among your peers in the industry, you have a style that's not just people-centered, but also growth-oriented. So I'd love to know your secrets to success for building culture, alignment, urgency across a business that clearly is evolving quickly, operating across multiple markets, so many moving pieces. How do you build that culture and alignment?
So it really starts with, and this sounds somewhat, trite sometimes, when potentially trite, but it really starts with our purpose. And our purpose is to provide great audio for people so that they can have enhanced experiences anywhere that they go. Okay, so that's where it really starts. When you hear stories, and I have my own story that I tell about sitting next to a 90-year-old man, and when the curtain came up in the theater we were in, he was weeping. And so of course I said, "Hey, are you okay?" And he said, "I heard about this assistive listening technology in this theater." And I knew that he'd been wearing one of our receivers. And he said, "I haven't been to a play in 10 years. I love plays. I was involved in them." And being able to hear the play and participate in the play. So then, of course, I'm crying. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's our technology." And they actually had to throw us out of the theater because we sat there so long chatting about his experience. And if you speak to anyone in our company, they will have had a similar experience. Our rep firms have had the same experience. Our distributors have had the same experience. So all the way through, our integrators have had the same experience. So all the way through the people that we deal with to the end user, our purpose is to provide a better experience. And to your point, one that is equal or better than the experience that a completely hearing enabled person can have. So I guess I didn't answer the question. Go ahead. Sorry.
Now, I was going to say, it sounds like in terms of building that culture and building that alignment and cohesion, it is because you are uniting the entire team behind that mission, behind that vision. And it's not purely a technology mission. It is an experience mission. You are helping those people, that 90-year-old man and everybody else, to fully participate in experiences. And that culture seems then to emerge naturally from that shared mission.
It does. There's so many layers of growth. In 2025, we grew so fast that we couldn't keep up. I mean, that is an honest truth. People were burning the candle at both ends, and it was really difficult to staff the number of people that we needed. And 2026 has been a year for us of kind of catching up and recovery. The secret for me to building a great culture starts with that purpose and mission and values, but it's really, again, about the great people and then doing hard things. I'm always looking at our executive team and our leaders and our managers and saying, we are a company that does hard things. We do hard things. We don't just sit by the sidelines and try to follow. We try to lead. And so those are the kind of people we recruit. We try to fail fast. We try to help mentor people. We've got great executive coaches, executive mentors. We put people through programs of leadership. We have thousands of dollars a year, $5,200 a year that we allow every single employee to take classes, to do their education, to attend conferences. And so we really put our money and our time and effort into recruiting the best people, retaining the best people, and growing the best people. And I am very, very passionate about that.
And that passion is infectious. I mean, I can sense it even in this conversation, but I have to imagine within the walls of your offices, that passion is infectious because the mission is so easy to get behind. And I love the idea that you pour into your team, knowing that as much as you pour into them, they are then going to pour into every interaction they have with clients and customers and integrators and projects. It all just flows right on down, that enthusiasm, that investment.
And they're really good people, Dan. I mean, these are long-term employees, new employees. They're just really good people.
So we've talked a little bit about that whole idea of the revelation that everyone really does deserve a fully accessible experience. Everyone should go to a theatrical production or a concert and get the full experience. So clearly among integrators, consultants, end users, accessibility is becoming more of a part of that conversation. Do you think the industry itself is starting to understand this whole picture much more clearly? Are there still gaps in awareness, or is it merely about gaps in execution in some instances?
I actually think it's gaps in both. And again, Auracast is dragging our industry along. I will tell you that probably 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, I got the first call in my career. So this is a decade plus in, from a friend of mine who said, "Hey, I've heard about this Auracast technology. Can you tell me more?" And I will tell you, Dan, I have never, ever had a call from someone who said, "Hey, I've heard about infrared or RF or Wi-Fi or hearing loop." Not once has anyone called me that was a friend of mine and said, "Can you tell me more?" So I would say that the opportunities are growing and all ships are rising. So what Auracast and Auri, our Auracast product, are doing for the industry in general is this massive opening of understanding of both assistive listening, and you and I have talked about listening assistance or enabling better audio. So it's not just about the hard of hearing, it's about when you and I go to a play and want better hearing experience, can listen and can we enable that through our technology? So I think that the industry is coming along, but I think it's being drugged along a little bit. I do see it being talked about earlier. And what I would encourage our audience and our integrators to do is to include it earlier and to understand the depth of the service they're providing to people by putting this in their audio and technical specs. So, a lot of times we get yanked out at the last minute of a budget because of a budget restraint. Even though it's required by law, you'd be surprised at how many people go, "Oh, I'll just cut assistive listening out. I'm not going to cut any televisions out." So that's what I would encourage the industry to do, to really, like our employees do, deeply understand the impact. And then I think that will change the conversation a little bit.
I think it will change and elevate the conversation. As we begin to wrap up the conversation here, Maile, I'd like to talk a little bit about how Listen Technologies and Ampetronic are thinking about innovation, market education, and helping integrator partners in the future. Clearly, you have a portfolio that spans multiple assistive listening and communication technologies, a really robust portfolio.
Yes.
What is the next step in terms of helping all your partners match the right solution to the right environment to achieve those elevated outcomes?
It really is one of our core values. So I'd love to tell the story about, he's now our senior VP of global revenue, but a gentleman named Kevin, who I listened to him on the phone, okay, when I was the chief revenue officer and he was leading our inside sales team. I listened to him on the phone say to a customer, "Oh, no. That's not the right solution. Let me go on Amazon." And I was like, what are you? You're literally telling a customer not to buy something of ours, and you're helping them find it on Amazon. Mm-hmm. And still to this day, it is one of our tenets is we do have a broad portfolio of products because not every product fits every need. And so we try really hard to fit the products to the needs of the customer, apparently even selling them something else. And so I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of the fact that we try really hard to do that. And so our goal in technology development is to just keep continuing to deliver amazing products that our customers love, that fit their needs. And we're not we're not the solution for everybody, clearly, but we do have a broad range. We do work on all of those products and look at the features and functions that our customers and our integrators ask for, and then do our best to produce those.
Well, I think there's no doubt about it. An amazing product assortment, to be sure, a really mission-driven, company-wide focus on making sure everyone can participate fully in great audio, participate in these experiences. Well done to you for the incredible growth you continue to oversee at Listen Technologies, and I'm excited to see that story continue to unfold in the months and years ahead.
Dan, thank you so much, and I deeply appreciate your time and the credit to you for everything you do for the industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maile. Such a pleasure to have been joined by Maile Keone, who is President and CEO of Listen Technologies. My name is Dan Ferrisi, Group Director of Content and Editorial, Industrial and Tech at Emerald. Please do keep your eyes on commercialintegrator.com in the days, weeks, and months ahead as we continue to cover our industry's top suppliers, making a real difference in enabling AV-infused experiences, including and especially Listen Technologies.